Hi everyone, we're going to get started in a couple seconds. Thank you. You can hear me fine. That's good. So this is the third and last part in our marketing analytics series. So hopefully you were able to attend yesterday's webinar. Otherwise, we're just kind of jumping into where we left off yesterday. So I'm going to go ahead and get started now. The first thing, we had like 4 questions about this. It's cross-domain tracking. And so cross-domain tracking is how do you prevent Google Analytics from creating new users when they're going between different domains that have your Google Analytics code on it. And so where you do this is with the data stream. So remember, when you want to go and access your data stream to like paste it in somewhere or copy it somewhere, you can either like look up here and type in data stream, it will come up. You can go to the admin panel and you can click data streams from right here. You can also get it from this side menu, so easy to access and view it again. So again, this is our data stream. This is the measurement ID that we've pasted into all of our different RunSignup races. We just have one URL right here. So if you come down to the bottom of this page, there's more to scroll down. Under Google Tag, the first option says Configure Tag Settings, and you can click on that. And what you can do is configure your domains. It's the second option under settings. So you're going to click that. And what you can do is add different conditions. And so this customer, Summer Sports, is alternately, I think they're probably using runsignup.com and trysignup.com. And like a lot of people just know runsignup.com as a brand, like people as in potential participants looking for a race. So even if you are using like a branded domain, like one of our other ones, like TicketSignup, GiveSignup, you might want to list all of those. If you're using a custom domain or subdomain, you're going to want to put that like domain root in here. And if you still have your own website, like you still have your own WordPress website that you want to keep and that has its own domain, what you can do is like first you're going to want to make sure that you add that Google Tag script to your own website. And so like I don't have summersports.com listed here because they haven't added that script to their own independent website yet. But if they do, then what I would do is I would add that domain here. And again, that's just going to it's going to kind of give me the whole universe of things. So this is where you go and you set up your cross-domain tracking. And I just use the match type of contains and this root domain here. And I think that works fine. So I'm just gonna X out of that. So that is cross-domain tracking. One other reminder, like if you are creating new ticket events, new races on RunSignup and TicketSignup, just copy and paste that measurement ID. I don't know if that's something that copies over if you're like copying a race or if you're like renewing a race and you didn't previously have it there. If you're renewing and you did previously have it, it will stay there. But just double check, and if you need to grab it again, like just go back to this data stream page, and that's where you're going to copy that measurement ID, and you're going to paste it into the GA4 spot, multi-event reporting in your race dashboard. So today we talked about looking at some more reports that are a little bit more customizable. So I think that the big thing to keep in mind here is the law of diminishing returns, because I think you can spiral on this stuff for a very long time. But at a certain point, like I don't know how much value this is going to give you. One of the screens that I did kind of like is under this heading of business objectives. When you click onto reports, then you have this business objectives tab. And under raise brand awareness, there's this report called pages and screens that I like. And I don't love the default like view that we have here. It's kind of messy. Like I'm just seeing a bunch of URLs and it's hard to like look at this and really understand what is happening here. But one of the nice things that we can actually do here is we can go here and we can change this. And so I found that this one where we switch it to page title and screen name looks a lot cleaner to me. It's just easier to understand where traffic is actually coming from because it's pulling in like that overall event name. And like you can see here, I've got 349 different rows. So there's a massive amount of data. And when I kind of start scrolling through this, you'll see at a certain point, it becomes very, very few hits. And so these are just like little pages sometimes within, like this is the results page, but people aren't really going there that much because it hasn't happened yet. So you'll see it's like all these specific pages, but you can kind of look more carefully like at the top level and see this is the page views and this is users. And I like this count of page views. It's something we have in Insights. It's like how much traffic is coming to your website. So yeah, you can kind of look at this in just different ways. One of the other really nice things here is you can search. So like if you want to search for Lake Nona, which is one of the races, you can actually see all these different pages. And so this first one that we see here is the home page. The second one is the first step of the registration path. And then this is participant tracking. And so this kind of makes sense because this event hasn't happened yet. And so people are like looking to sign up and get results notifications for different participants, or they're signing up for the race. And like you'll see this will shift probably. So once this event happens, we're actually going to see like the results page at the top with number of views, and we're going to see the photos page at the top with number of views. So I think that this report can be helpful. And one of the things that you can do here is we can customize this report, which I like. And so when I'm seeing that edit icon, I think that's really nice. So what we can do is we can say we actually really like this view that we just came up with, where it's showing us the screen name, and we'll sort it on views. And one of the things that we can actually do is we can create a new summary card. And so we can say this is going to be this, this is going to be our view, and we'll do a bar chart. No, I don't like that. I like this. So this is telling me like this top level, which is like the main race page, how many views across these different pages. And I think that just like showing the data in this type of way with the screen name and showing the metric of page views, which is not the same as users. Like GA4 tends to be very user-centric. I just really like this view and this data. And so what we've done is we've added another summary card, and we'll just know this is called screen name. And so we like this view a lot. And what we can do is we can actually just save this, and we'll overwrite what was previously showing. So the next time we come to this page, we're going to get to see this report. And then what we can do is go back, and yesterday we were looking at that reports snapshot page. So if we go back to our report snapshot, we can come here and we can customize what this view has, and we can add this new card that we just created, which was screen name, and that was what we just created. So we can add this card. And if we go down here, we can now see exactly what we just created. And again, I think that this is just like playing around with these different reports and trying to use them to figure out information that's going to be useful to you. And I like this because it kind of gives me like race insights page views at the overall level of my business. So I get to see everything all in one page kind of. And it's not going to be as detailed as what we give you in your event dashboard, race insights or ticket insights, but it's going to be, you know, interesting data to view. And so we can put this up here. We did the users by city last time, so we'll put that right after, and we'll just come back up and we'll save this again and save changes to that current report. And yeah, so now we've got that little new card and that new set of data that we can look at in Google Analytics. So that's kind of just playing around with the different like top level drop down options that are available to you um, in these kind of set reports that Google Analytics gave us. There's another tab here under reports called Explore, and Explore is also about reports. But what I wanted to do here was show you two different types of reports. So one is using a freeform report and one is using a funnel report. And we'll just start from scratch to create this first report together because I don't think it'll hopefully take too long. But what we're going to do here is you can create your own set of rows and columns for this entire report. And so under dimensions, the thing that I want to search for, the one that we're going to make right now, is item name. And so remember from yesterday's webinar that the item name is like the overall race name that we have. And when you check a piece of data that you want to include in this custom report, you're going to click this button that says import. I think that just means it's bringing in all that different data that you have. And then the other one that we want to do is item category, and that's going to be like the event name or the item type that they're buying when they're signing up, like if you're selling t-shirts or whatever. So we're going to put that in as well. And then under metrics, this is going to be like the count, like what are you actually trying to measure with these things? And so like my interest would probably be like, let's say like it's item quantity and revenue. We'll do items purchased. We'll do items purchased and item revenue. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a report. And when I'm thinking about it, it's just like thinking about what you want to see. So like I want to see how much money all these different event types across all of my different races are bringing in. So I'm going to have like the race name come down in the rows, and you can update these. So if you have more than like 10 events on the platform, you can just update that. And I'm going to have the event type going across the top, which is going to be the item category. And then for values, we're going to put in the metric. And so we can put in item revenue. And you'll see once there's enough data for this to actually make sense, it's going to start updating in real time. So yeah, and then you can see this. And this is kind of confusing actually, because like, you know, across all these different events, it's just showing me like tech tank top and t-shirt, sprint triathlon, but they've got like a lot of other event types. It's not just this. So again, you're just gonna want to like extend like how many columns you can actually view, and like, okay, there's all the data. It actually is all coming in. And I think that this is just really nice to see because like you're getting the correct data in just from that integration that we built with GA4, and then you have the power to set it up and make it make sense for your different types of events. So this is one option that we can do to view our data. And so you'll see that it kind of is like a little bit messy here. So like there's, when I'm scrolling in through here, like I have like 5K run, walk, live event. I've got the Be Healthy 5K. Like it's just segmented in a way that I don't think is the most helpful. And so what you can actually do is you can kind of roll up this data so that it's kind of clean and gets summarized based on like different event types. And so one example is, you're going to use these segments. So you're just going to create segments, and you can, so like include users when you're going to add these new conditions. And so you're going to go back to that item category, which is like what that event within a race or a ticket event, or it could be a ticket type, but it's like your 5K, your triathlon, your general, your VIP. And you're going to add a filter, and it can be contains, this could be shirt, because we have a lot of shirts coming on. So any of these items that contains a shirt, and you see that quickly sums it up, and we'll call this segment shirts, and we'll apply that. And so rather than giving me like a million different things over here, I'm just going to kind of clean this up so that we can look at this a little bit cleanly. We're going to start looking at just different segments. So I want shirts. I want to do this again, and I'm going to go back to item category. And this time I'm going to do contains 5K and apply. And again, that's just one that we noticed last time that had a lot of information with it. Oh, and that was kind of messy what we did there. So we'll just click edit segment and actually give that a name so that it is giving us that like high level segment name so we can actually understand our data. And then like another one that a lot of these events has, and this is a bit manual, and like I don't know why it's so difficult to do things in Google Analytics for. It can be a little like repetitive and time consuming, but I think like, you know, the point of this webinar is to give you some clues as to like where to go, like start looking. And I keep forgetting to do this. And like, again, if you had like different lengths of triathlon, like sprint and Olympic, and you want to segment, you could include that in the contains, but we'll just group all of our triathlons together. And so here we're starting to see like more information, and it's segmented based on these different event types. And so one of the things that came up during yesterday's meeting was how do we export this? And so you can click this export button wherever you see it on one of these reports. So the request was specifically about Google Sheets. So you can click to export like a report that we build like this into Google Sheets. And it gives you this intermediary step to import that. And then we've got that as a quick export. And so, you know, it's too bad that it doesn't like give us the dollars, but like you can obviously like clean that up real quick, you know, just go like that. And again, you'll have to format this, and it's not connected. But like if you wanted to share this data without giving somebody access to your Google Analytics account, you'd be able to do that. And then you can title these explorations. So we can just say like, this is going to be called items purchased. And then you can filter the time. So these are going to be dynamic. So like if you wanted to do yesterday or last week, you can apply that time filter to any of these reports. And so this would be like a rolling report that you could check and look at the past week from where I'm at today, and I'm looking at the last week. And you'll see that those numbers all kind of filtered down based on that time segment that we're looking at. Yeah, I think that is kind of a quick overview of how to use these Explore reports. I'm going to do one more report that I pre-built, and I wanted to show you how to do a funnel. So when you create a funnel, sorry, I'll go back one step. When you create a funnel, you can click funnel exploration, and this is going to give you slightly different settings than we have in our free form, where we're just kind of like figuring out what the rows and columns are going to be. This is like the steps through to purchase, and so it's kind of defaulting to like who clicked on that first page and who ended up purchasing. So what you're able to do here on these funnels is you can actually edit what the funnel is going to be. Again, this is a little bit time consuming, so I'm going to show you one that I've already built out. And this is the Lake Nona funnel. And what we did was we actually created a funnel that's showing how many people progress through the entire registration path. And so in these, new step is actually like the first step of registration. So like there's a ton of traffic that's going there. And then the next step is waivers. The next step is the USAT membership purchase. The next step is questions. And the last is confirmation page, meaning you've successfully purchased an item. And it's kind of looking at what the attrition rates are through each of those steps. Again, this is like kind of diminishing returns, but I wanted to show this because I think that there is a useful thing to look at here, which is how you can kind of segment these things. So when we started this, so let's just rename this to be first step of registration. You did notice that there was like a lot of traffic that came to the first step of registration. So quickly looking at their event, we did notice that like a lot of the emails sent out dumped people right into registration path rather than to the race website. And so that's why that number is quite high. But what you're going to do to just kind of start building funnel is click this parameter of begin checkout, which is that first page. And you see this number here, it's called 165632. So where that's coming from is your URL on your race website. And so you'll notice when you're signing up for any sort of event, you're going to have that race ID in the URL, no matter which event you're on. And like tickets will have their ticket ID. But basically what you can do is like, this is a unique number. Like no other race is going to have it. It's just your event. And what you can do is you can set this funnel up based on that information. So we know that people are beginning checkout and it's specifically going to be for this race because it contains this specific ID. And then as you progress through the registration path, you're kind of looking right here at this URL. And this second part of it is where we're kind of interested. I can't zoom in onto the URL, but we'll take screenshots and make sure you guys can see this in a blog afterwards. But basically what I'm doing is I'm taking this like unique waiver name step and I'm taking this race ID and I'm putting them into a step. So as an example here, I'm adding this page path and query string, and it's always going to contain this unique word of waivers because that's specific to the waiver step. And I'm going to apply that. And it's also going to include this unique race ID, which is going to typically be like a 6-digit if you're a newer customer. It's going to be smaller if you've been on the platform for a while. And then just to kind of, I can name this step and I can save that or I can move it. I'm going to remove this step because I've done this already. But basically that's what you're going to repeat for each of these steps. And so like I would just go through my registration path. And so this one is called the membership step. And so what I would do is I would copy that word memberships and I paste that into that same thing where we're just putting that query string. It contains this special word that's unique to this step, and it contains this unique race ID, which again is this number. And you'll see that this pattern is on every single step of the registration path. And so we'll just quickly go. This is the question step. So again, like copy the word questions, copy that race ID. And you can kind of go through and build that out entirely. The confirmation page includes that keyword of confirmation. And again, it includes that ID. And so that's kind of how you're building this funnel. You're just adding steps one after the other. And you could even change this to say is directly followed by. But it doesn't really matter because you've got pretty good parameters around that. But this is how you create your own custom funnel. So I think this is really only applicable if you have like a really, really large race that's opening or a really large ticket event and you're kind of interested, you have a lot of steps to it, maybe like a ton of custom questions, and how many people are actually able to sign up through the whole thing. And then this gives you a breakdown option. So right now it's just defaulted to break down by the device type, and Google Analytics is tracking that automatically. It's saying like, this is how many people are looking at it on mobile, this is how many on desktop, this is how many on tablet, and it breaks down that completion rate and abandonment rate by device type. So this gives you that full customer journey through your entire registration path. Yeah, and that's kind of like another way that you can use this Explore tab to start playing around with looking at your data in different ways. So like to me, this report, which we segmented by these like bucketed event types, this is kind of a useful thing to look at. It gives you a nice summary of all of your data that's coming in through Google Analytics. And then this concept of a funnel is a lot more complicated to build out. But if you've got a large event that you're opening and you're just interested in measuring this as a funnel type of step, and if you have your own website, maybe you want to include like that step from your own website into the registration path, you really just need to approach these Explore reports as with some sort of question in your mind. And then you can kind of use these different things to make it a reality. And I think the big takeaway from looking at these Explore reports is that you are going to use the item name and item category. And if you are trying to build something that's custom based off of like a query string, using this race ID and any unique parameter in that URL and the registration path, it happens to be the word that comes after track. That's how you're going to do it. And there's a million different ways that you can play around and segment this data and look at things in a different way. But kind of my takeaways from it are like, GA4 can be really useful when you want to get an overall analytics view of your entire business, because you have a lot of different races, you have a lot of different ticket events, and you want to quickly look at like my overall page views broken down by like the event type. I want to look at my overall sales like quickly consolidated in a clean report, or I want to like export, something that looks like this, like a weekly report of my sales broken down by these different categories. And then I think GA4 can be really useful. If you're just doing a few events, I do think that the insights that RunSignup and TicketSignup have built into your dashboard are a lot more useful because they're right there and they are purpose-built for events. Like we've kind of already filtered out all this noise that you can see in GA4, and we've narrowed it down to just show you the analytics that are going to be interesting for the types of events and like your goals of your business, which are to get more people signing up, to get more donations, to get more revenue. Whereas GA4 is a lot more open, and it's part of Google's business model. Like they're giving you this so that you can buy ads on Google Ads and like connect these to your analytics account and spend more money like advertising on Google search. Like that's why they give you this type of stuff. And because it's built for such a broad set of customers, it's not like purpose built for events. And I think it takes some time of getting to learn Google Analytics to start feeling comfortable with it. But hopefully this webinar gave you kind of that beginning place to start from of how to set up your Google Analytics 4 account, how to integrate with your different events on the RunSignup and TicketSignup universe, and then how to start feeling comfortable playing around with these different reports. I'm a big fan of just like clicking on things and trying them out. Like you're not going to mess things up permanently. You can always like delete or create new things. But yeah, hopefully these like report snapshot real time, and then these like basic reports and starting to do these custom Explore reports is helpful and gives you a good starting point to use GA4 for your organization. So if you have any questions, you can ask them now. We're going to spend some time consolidating this information into blogs and we'll get recordings and follow-up kind of information that's written out with some more screenshots to you by the end of this week. No questions? Okay. Well, thank you guys for attending this marketing analytics series. And yeah, let us know how it goes using GA4.